Namaste. Let's begin. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Today's discussion is on the Upanishads and specifically the Ishavasya Upanishad. So, exploring Isha Upanishad or Ishavasya Upanishad. So, just summarizing our last discussion. So, we had a discussion about the Upanishads in general, the meaning of Upanishad, and also the classification of Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishads. And then we discussed about majorly these how 10 major Upanishads are there, and also how these Upanishads have a huge influence in the practice, in the studies, in spirituality, from the viewpoint of Prasthanatraya. So, if you remember, there are three types of major studies. One is Shruti Prasthana, this is Upanishads. Then is Sutra Prasthana, that is Brahma Sutrani. And then the third one is Smriti Prasthana, that is the Gita. So then in the comments and in the private messages, your main question was to go into the details of each Upanishad. So in the today's discussion, we will explore specifically the Isha Upanishad and the beginning of the Isha Upanishad, because even though this is one of the smallest Upanishads, probably among the major Upanishads, this is actually the smallest with 18 mantras. There is only 18 mantras. So definitely this is the smallest one. But in terms of its meaning, this is a very heavy Upanishad. This comes in Yajurveda, in Shukla Yajurveda. Ishavasya Upanishad comes in Shukla Yajurveda, in Maitrayaniya Samhita. Actually, this is in a part of Samhita itself. Even though there is a lot of discussion about the rituals and their practices, this particular section is more about consciousness and its deeper meaning of the mantras. So this Isha Upanishad, also known as Ishavasya Upanishad, this is known because the very first mantra starts with Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. So it starts with Isha. So that's why it is known as Isha Upanishad. It is also known as Ishavasya Upanishad because it starts with Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. Now, Isha comes from the word eat. So this is the Tritiya Vibhakti, the third tonality of it. So by the consciousness, eat, that comes from the concept of consciousness. So this Ishavasya Upanishad in general talks about consciousness. Obviously, that is the major focus of all the Upanishads. But the major two concepts that you will see in Ishavasya is two, that is Jnana and Karma. There is an extensive discussion. One you will see in the Gita about Karma and Jnana, which is we were also discussing during the um, summary of the Upanishads in the last video, that there are two classifications. One is Karma Kanda, all about the rituals, the external practices, the karma, the action. So that is one practice. Jnana is more of inwardly practices. In a way, life is all put together is inwardly and outwardly. So this Upanishad majorly discusses these two major aspects, karma and jnana. But today we will just stick to two major aspects. We will not go to the concepts that are discussed in the Upanishad. But if you can study two major mantras in this Upanishad, basically you kind of know the content of the Upanishads. Two major mantras. The first one, the Shanti mantra of this Upanishad, the one that I was chanting right in the beginning. So this is very popular mantra that we should know. So this is Om Purnamadaha. If I just remove the connotations, the swaras, Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. So this is the mantra. And if you notice, this Purnamadav Purnamidam is very popular mantra in the yoga practices also. In many beginning of the classes, at the end of the classes, most often this mantra is used, Purnamadav Purnamidam. So if you dig the details of Purnamadav Purnamidam, you will get an idea of how the entire summary of the Upanishad is. So I want you to look at the details of this mantra and the first mantra, that is Ishavasya, later. So we will start with Purnamadav Purnamidam, word by word meaning of it. So this is the Shanti mantra. As you know, there are three major sections in the mantras for the easy understanding. One is the Shanti mantras, which have very beautiful meaning. The smaller sections, like the Purnamadaha, Sahanavavatu is a Shanti mantra. Tachhayoravrimahe is Shanti mantra. What else you might be knowing? Om Sarve Bhavanto Sukhinaha is a Shanti mantra. So these are Shanti mantras, very beautiful meaning that is there in these mantras. The other ones are Bija mantras, which we have discussed, and also in general the big mantras. So because it is a Shanti mantra of this Upanishad, it is good to know the meaning of it. So let's see briefly the meaning, starting with Purnamadaha Purnamidam. So it says Purnam Adaha. That is Purnam. This is Purnam. Purnam Adaha. That is Purnam. Purnam Idam. Idam means this. Purnam Adaha. Adaha. That is Purna. Purnam Idam. This is Purna. The word Purna is a very interesting word. This is also the root word for Purusha. Purusha in Sanskrit means the one who is complete, not the man. Most often Purusha refers to the man, but it is not. The one who is complete is Purna. Purna means complete. So here referring to consciousness which is complete, Nirguna, and something that is everywhere, omnipresent. So Purnam Adaha, that is complete, that is consciousness, that is everywhere, which is also most often referred to as Brahma. So everywhere you have the consciousness, that is Purna. This is also Purna. Purnam Idam. The Jiva or Atma, this is also Purna. Purnam Adaha, Purnam Idam, and then Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnat, from Purna, what is manifested, what rises, Udachyate, rises, that is also Purna. So what comes out, so generally what happens is you will see something that is created from something. So if you are creating a pot out of mud, then there is a creation, vikriti or vikara, that happens. But here what comes out from Purna, what is expressed from consciousness, is also Purna. Very interesting to look at this, because one, if the creator is creating something, then what is called as creation may not be the complete one, because it is an expression, it is a subset from the creator, generally, in the general sense. So something that I create is a limited, if even though I am unlimited. But here it says even something that is arising, manifesting from Purna, is also Purna. So if you know that we had a discussion during the teacher training about a sheep story, so that story is very valid here, which means not going to the story in general. Um, Even though there appears to be something as a creation, it is not really a creation. So that is the meaning. It just appears to be created, it appears to be taking a different form, which means consciousness remains as it is, but it could be appearing like a living and non-living, it could be appearing like a human being and a wall. We appear to different entities, but it is still from the consciousness itself. It appears, it is not created, it just manifests like that, not really taking the shape. So something that rises from Purna, from the completeness, is also complete. Purnat Purnamudachyate. Then Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam eva avashishyate. Avashishyate, that remains. So what you take from Purna, that also remains Purna. So generally what happens is, if you have 100 rupees, then if you take a bit of it, then it is not 100 rupees anymore. But here, even if something is deducted from consciousness, it still remains the consciousness, which means there is no vikara or vikriti, there is no change. In the literal sense, there is no change. It just still appears to be taking a different form. It is not really taking a different form. What do you mean? It means, we were just talking in the teacher training here about the different levels of realities. So give me a little bit of attention here. For example, right now, when I'm talking to you, if I see a rope, right, on the side, I see a rope. But because I'm so attentive to what I should speak, I could be just quickly giving my attention, and because my attention is here, I might think that it is a snake. Rope and snake can be quite interconnected. So I feel like, oh, there is a snake. Now, after a while, I realize, oh, it is not a snake, it is a rope. So, at this moment, when I think that it is a snake, for me, that is a reality. It might not be real, but at this moment of me thinking that it is a snake, it is actually a snake for me. For me, there is no change in the object, but for me, I think that this is a snake. After that, when I realize that it is a rope, then that reality of snake has vanished. This is in the Vedanta called as Pratibhasika Satta. Okay, first stage. Now, this is the first layer of reality for me in my head. The second layer of reality is Vyavaharika Satta, in which I think this is the camera, this is the wall, this is the human body, these are gadgets, this is the house. So, all of these are real. At this stage, this is a reality for me. That does not mean this is actually real. If I go little beyond than this stage, which means when I experience everything as consciousness, then these differences between a living being and a non-living being will not exist. Of course, it exists for you, but for me, I will go beyond than this reality that I have right now. So that is the Paramarthika Satta. When I have that kind of experience, even though the same living and non-living existence is there for you, but because I reach the layer of consciousness, for me, I literally experience everything consciousness. So when everything is consciousness, they just appear to be taking different forms. In real, they are not taking any different form. So that is the meaning of Purnasya Purnamadaya. Even when you deduct from the completeness, it is still complete. Purnameva. Only that completeness exists. I come back to the complete meaning of one more time. The same thing. Purnamadaha Purnamidam. That is complete. Purnam. This is also Purnam. Idam is also complete. Purnat Purnamudachyate. From the consciousness, it gives an expression of consciousness. Purnasya Purnam Adaya. Even if you deduct from consciousness, only consciousness remains. So this is the Shanti mantra. to begin with in the Ishavasya Upanishad. The very first mantra in the Ishavasya Upanishad is actually the summary of the entire Upanishad discussion. That is, ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथाः मा गृधः कस्य स्विद्धनम्. The very first line, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. This is actually a declaration. The first line is a declaration. The second line is an order. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Let's see the word by word meaning. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Isha, often we tend to think that Isha means Ishwara, which is with a dreadlock and a trident, the Shiva, popular image of Shiva. But here, Isha literally means the consciousness Brahma. Shankara Bhagavad Pada mentions, the one who has written extensive commentary on Ishavasya Upanishad, on all the major Upanishads actually. He explains Isha means Brahma. So, Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Idam everything, sarvam, sarvam everything. Idam sarvam Ishavasyam. Isha is from Isha, from it, from the consciousness. With the conscious, everything is enveloped, engulfed by consciousness. So when it is engulfed, in English we are saying engulfed. In the Sanskrit term, everything is consciousness. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Whatever that you see appearing to be little different, but it is consciousness only. So in that case, he explains little more. The mantra explains in little more clarity, that says yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Jagatyam, in the world, yatkinchit, whatever that is, everything, which means everything, in the jagatyam, in the world, in the jagat. The last word jagat refers to, in Sanskrit it is known gachati iti jagat. What a beautiful word. You see, Jagat means Gachati. Something that moves is Jagat. Nothing is permanent. Everything is moving. Everything is constantly changing. Gachati, because it moves, it is called Jagat. So anything that you think remains constant, it is an illusion. The earth is moving, the life is moving, every cell is moving. Nothing remains constant. And that's why it is called Jagat. So the world around, the world inside, the world around, everything is Jagat. It is moving with two things. So in the details, that is Chara and Achara. Chara are the ones who are moving, Achara appearing to be not moving, which are plants and the mountains and all. Even though in the deeper sense they are also moving. Jagat has another very important word, synonym for Jagat in Sanskrit is samsara. Samyak sarati iti samsara. Samyak, completely, integrally, holistically, sarati, moves. So we think that life is not in the way we want. We think things are going not going well, or sometimes when we are on the top of the life, we think, oh, this is amazing. But life or the nature knows how to make it balanced. So it is always very perfectly moving. If we magnify a particular situation in our life, we could be thinking this is good, this is bad. But everything is good, everything has its own balance. So that's why another word for the life is samsara. So back to yatkincha jagatyan jagat, whatever that you have, whatever that is there in the jagatyam, in the world, everything that is moving, this is all consciousness. Yatkincha jagatyam jagata. Now, first one is a declaration. Okay. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Everything is consciousness. Whatever that you see in this constantly moving world, that is all consciousness. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. enjoy with the sense of renunciation from consciousness, whatever that is manifesting, enjoy it, but in the sense of renunciation. Why? Because everything that comes to you will go back. Anything that is taking shape, anything that appears to be expressing, it has its own time. Everything has a momentary, um, it's time bound, so it always has certain level of limitation. So while you are enjoying, always with the sense of renunciation. During the teacher training here, we have this discussion about how to why there is so much of emphasis on detachment. And generally, when we are explaining about the spiritual concepts of detachment, major questions will be about, if I love somebody, why should I have any detachment? I love somebody, I love my wife. But if you observe, if you really love, that love comes with a detachment. If you have your a book maybe very very close to you, you won't be able to see it. To see it properly, you need a certain level of detachment. So in the same way, tena tyaktena, tyakta comes from the word tyaga, leaving. Renunciation comes with a similar word with vairagya. So there should be some sort of viraga, a little sense of detachment. Only then that enjoyment will be relishing, it is cherishable. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. Then from there, very interesting um, command here that says magridha kasya swidhanam. Magridha kasya swidhanam. Magridha. Ma is a negation. So if you remember the meaning of sahana vavatu, ma vidvishavahai. So in the same way, ma gridhaha, do not desire. Kasya swidhanam. Ma gridhaha covet, desiring. Do not desire somebody else's wealth. Kasya swidhanam. So here, the surface meaning is, do not desire somebody's dhanam. Dhanam, not necessarily only money, any sort of wealth. But here, there's a little bit of meaning, deeper meaning than this. Magradha kasya dhanam, whose dhanam? So is there anybody who owns the wealth? Which means, does anybody possess anything? Because everything is consciousness. You do not possess anything. What we think that we own, we don't really own. Maybe on the paper you own, maybe because of a relationship you own, but in the literal sense, in the uh, realistic sense of life, you do not own anything. So that's why, do not desire something that doesn't belong to you. Which, in the real sense, in the complete sense of it, do not desire. So finally, we want to go beyond the desire. So that's why first it says, do not desire something that doesn't belong to you. Then if you go real a little deeper than this, you realize nothing belongs to you. In that sense, do not desire anything. Ma gridhaha kasya svidhanam. So how to practice this? I just want to add from other contexts also, little bit adding to this whole discussion. There is a very beautiful explanation that you will see in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The same Purnamadav Purnamidam discussion. This is explained. This is explained in this whole shloka. ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविः ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. So it says, this is in the context of yajna, any fire ceremony. If you have seen, in the fire ceremony, there is an offering, there is somebody who is offering, There is a process of offering, there is a deity who is invoked, and this whole act of yajna, all of this is actually same. So it says the act of offering brahma arpanam, and the little offering that is given in the fire ceremony, most often you might see the ghee, the refined butter, or the specific offerings in each fire ceremony, or even the fire itself, or the one who is offering, or the deity, most of the time agni, I mean on the surface level, or the whole act of this whole yajna, everything is actually what is consciousness only. So purnamadaha purnamidam, even that is purna, this is purna, that is also brahma, this is brahma. In the same way, in the fire ceremony, the whole act, including the one who is offering, the one who is receiving, the whole act, everything is consciousness. This is what you discuss, or you chant in the nirvana shatka, aham bhojan, you know, um, I'm not the one who is eating. I'm not the one who is eaten. I'm not the one who is in the process also. I am Shivoham, Shivoham. Same concept is explained in that shloka also. So this is Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam. The one that you reach is also consciousness. Brahma Karma Samadhina. The journey is also consciousness. When you are in the journey, it might look that it is not consciousness. I always say this during the discussion of samadhi here, in the Ashtanga Yoga discussion in the Yoga Sutras, that it looks very ironical in the study of yoga, that you are taking a journey in the yogic life, you are taking a journey towards the final destination, which is samadhi, only to realize that there was no journey and there was no destination. But even to realize this, you need to take a journey to realize that there was no journey. Looks little contradictory, but that's the truth. And I want to give you, just to summarize this whole discussion from a very interesting viewpoint of Hanuman, and how wise he was, because we practice Anjaneyasana, Hanumanasana, and all. So that's why in the same context he explains something that should be worth noting here. So there is a this is the first time that Hanuman, Anjaneya, is meeting his god Rama, Sri Rama. During this first meeting, so from the far, when Hanuman is coming, the moment Rama sees him, Rama obviously knows, but still he asks, who are you? Then to the question of Sri Rama, Hanuman explains who is he, and he says, Deha Buddhya, at the physical level, Deha Buddhya tu dasoham. I am your dasa, I am your servant. Jiva Buddhya, little deeper from the whole system of my body, I am actually Jiva Buddhya from the sense of my system, Twadamshakaha. I am a part of you. Atma Buddhya, from the conscious level, Tvamevaham, I am you only. At the level of consciousness, there is no difference between me and you. Ityevam mama nishchayaha. This is what I conclude about myself. This is the best introduction that you can ever see from anybody. Deha buddhya tu dasoham. At the physical level, I am your servant because I really have the devotion towards you. Deha buddhya tu dasoham. Jiva buddhya twadamshakaha. A part of you is in me, and that's how I worship you. But Atmodhyatu, at the level of consciousness, there is no difference between me and you. Atmabuddhya Tvamevaham, I am you. And these are the three different layers. If you ask me at the physical level, yes, I'm your servant. So it is up to you to decide at which level you are asking me. This is the level of understanding. At different levels, we have different approaches. So at the physical level, of course, there is a duality. The whole living and non-living objects are different. But at the spiritual level, everything is consciousness. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyan jagat tena tena bhunjithaha. Always enjoy with a detachment. Ma gradha kasya svidhanam. Nothing belongs to you. You own nothing. So that's why uh, be here. There was a nice thing that my teacher used to say, that I think this is very applicable for all of us. And I say this to our students during the teacher training. So I say that, if you know, many a times some people are coming from the West, they come with a, sometimes with a tourist visa. So we all have this tourist visa to the planet Earth. So you come here as a visitor. So when you are here, touristic visa has some certain limitations, right? So you cannot really work here. You cannot change the system. You can help. You can uplift by offering your knowledge. So that's what you can do. So make sure that you enjoy your time here. Your visa expires very soon. So the moment you entered the planet Earth, you have your visa that is going to expire very soon. So there is a time that is ticking. When you have to leave the planet Earth because your visa expired, without any grudge, without any force, without any frustration, happily leave. But until your stay is valid here, enjoy the moment. There is everything for your enjoyment. But if you want to change the system of the nature of the planet Earth, you have no permission. So make sure that you are a visitor of the planet Earth. You don't own anything. Ma gridhaha kasya svidhanam. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Enjoy with a sense of detachment. You don't own anything, you don't possess, you just stay here, enjoy, because everything is just pure consciousness. So this is just the first mantra of Ishavasya Upanishad. So let me know, what do you think, whether you want to go to the details of entire Ishavasya Upanishad. It will take a few videos. It won't give justice if we are taking in a half an hour, if we are concluding the entire Upanishad. And I was also thinking to take some very significant mantras and try to discuss the meaning of all these very important mantras. Let me know if you're interested. If you have any other topic, in the comment or in the direct message or through WhatsApp, or any other sources too, you can reach out to me. If it is helpful, give a thumbs up, um, and do the necessary things. So I will see you in the next video on the next Friday at the same time. Thank you for joining. If you need any different topic, please let me know that too. Let's conclude with the Shanti mantra of this Ishavasya Upanishad. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.